Welcome. If you're a renter, this is a pretty good description of how we can help you because we change renters into owners. I know it's hard to believe, but 35% of the entire population of the United States are renters, and many are families with children, and maybe that's you. And interestingly enough, that percentage of the population as renters has not changed in 50 years, even with the government throwing $2 trillion at the problem. So I guess the question is, what can anybody show for all the rent that they've paid over the years? Will the current housing boom mean higher rents for you? Your wages don't go up as fast as rents, that we're pretty sure of. And do you control your rental housing situation, or does somebody else control it for you? And will that ever change? And if so, when will it change? We call this renting and hating it. There's some reasons for you to keep renting. 3 of them come to mind. Maybe your taxable income is inconsistent or insufficient to make sure that you can't qualify for a loan. It doesn't mean that you don't make the money, it just means it doesn't fit into the little boxes. The second would be credit issues. And the third would be something like the landlord likes you. He wants to keep you forever, so he keeps the rent low, no moving, situation stable. But you know, it's like the frog in the warm water. A lot of people just hanging on, living with it, and they're not getting anywhere. Sometimes things can and they do change, and pretty unexpectedly. The landlord decides to sell, or maybe he dies, or he raises the rent, or something else. And all of a sudden, you have to make fast decisions. And those fast decisions can be pretty expensive if you're not really careful. So what effect does renting have and moving have on you and on your family? It's got to be a big impact. At least that's the way that we see it. You know, the Urban Institute, a think tank back in Washington, says that housing influences life outcomes for your children. It affects everything in their future. Outcomes from owning are always better than the outcomes that come from renting. Did you know that the average owner or landlord net worth is $240,000, but the average renter net worth is $6,000? Would you change it? You might be happy to know that there is now a solution. And maybe it's for you. It's up to you, not me. It's been approved by the California Association of Realtors. It's endorsed by Harvard Housing Institute and a company called Inman. And it provides for immediate home ownership, not some cheesy rent-to-own scheme or any of that stuff. Immediate home ownership. And it does not require you to qualify for a home loan. Owning and loving it rather than renting and hating it. You know, you're probably wondering, is this a good time to buy a home? You know what? It's never been a good time. I remember back in 1978, I was looking at a condominium in Del Mar. It was $78,000. It scared the hell out of me, and now it's worth $1.9 million. Real estate keeps going and going. During the last 50 years, home prices have risen every 5-year period except one. We all talk about that one, and they were down about 10%. Remember, you're an owner. You're not an investor, and you're not moving every 2 years either. Enjoy the ride. So now let me just talk about the solution that we've come up with. It's approved by everybody. And rather than talk about what it is, let's talk about what it does. So you don't have a loan qualification to worry about. And you're going to get write-offs against your taxes for the payments that you make, tax payments and interest payments. The property itself, it creates equity over time without you having to do anything. Very unlike a rental. There's a written agreement to protect you, so there won't be any weird hassles like you get from landlords all the time. And later on, you might be able to purchase this property all by yourself without putting up any more cash. Remember, you're an owner from day one. So this solution I'm talking about is called equity sharing. It's a joint venture between a landlord, maybe a prior landlord, we call him now an investor, and a buyer, which would be someone like yourself. To become what we call a Covestor, in other words, be able to buy a piece of that property, We use common sense underwriting. So we don't do all that stuff that the loan people do, debt to income ratios, that's out. You're going to purchase a percentage of the equity up to a maximum of 49%. And it may be staged in. With that, you will get 49% of the appreciation and anything that happens for paying down the loan that's already on the property. And that builds your equity for later purchase. You can complete the purchase of the remaining 50% when you're ready, when you are ready. Maybe never. The negotiated agreement with the seller is for your protection. The tax benefits are for you. You may resell your interest too if you need to without having to sell the property. Again, you are the owner from the close of escrow. Is it legal? Oh yeah. Who are the advocates? Well, CoVest Properties, we're a licensed broker. We've been around for 12 years. The California Association of Realtors, they have a legal services memorandum they put out in 2008, says this is a really good thing. And then the IRS has a stipulation in their code called 280A. Well, who does this anyhow? Well, there's some appreciation share companies out there that do a version of it, but you have to qualify. U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development does it from time to time. Parents and children do it for educational savings. Churches and pastors do this. And finally, companies that recruit selected executives who get sticker shock when they come to San Diego, they use it too. Remember, this is a joint venture. You're going to own a piece of that joint venture that owns the property. You're going to actually buy your position. Our solution beats lease to own, rent to own, lease, option, all the trashy, cheesy things that other people have gone out to try and separate you from your money. And if you want to know more, get a hold of us and we'll be happy to work it out with you. Thanks again.